Check, check, perfect. Wicked. And sharpen for a few more minutes. Thanks for joining me. People are already here. I didn't even have the microphone set up. Guess I should start the chat. All right. Okay, so the part you missed as I'm preparing was I always get really nervous before teaching a class or doing a live stream. Believe me, it seems like I'm a natural, but I'm actually an introvert. I'm in a room alone. But even though, you know, this is broadcast out, like it's not like Zoom. I don't get nervous when I'm on Zoom, but I get so nervous. So I went and peed, took a deep breath, and often right before I'll wash dishes because I find that to be very calming. Today was a little bit of a scramble. So the meditation here is sharpening. I might even do some warm-ups today. I did class homework last night, so I'm not as rusty as usually. My goal with opening this atelier was every morning to do 2.5 to 3 hours of drawing. Have lunch, hang out with students, you know, do a mental break period of at least an hour, you know, do my meditation, maybe Tai Chi. And then in the afternoon, set up for painting. That's how I laid out the class times. But because everything's in chaos, I've really been neglecting maintaining and improving my personal practice. I am working 10 to 12 hours a day, so I'm still making art, kind of. I'm painting acrylic, which is, I don't know, just sticky plastic. It's not my favorite medium, but it's good for what we're doing and it dries quick. So slowly I'm getting back into this habit outside of just the live stream. It's like by 6 o'clock my mind is like, should you just go home? Are you done? And then somehow I pull up my pants, I dig deep, and I'm still at the studio at 9:30. In that book, Mastery, which I highly recommend to all artists, it always says that the master is the first one to arrive and the last one to leave. So that ultimately is my goal, even if I'm the only one here. Just put the time in the most. Okay, here's a few. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 more Wolf's Carbon. And we got 5 minutes. It's 5:55, so I'm going to do the show intro thingy, the countdown. Welcome. I want to steal John Oliver's great introduction. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyways, I was sharpening pencils during the break. I sharpened 2 in 5 minutes. When I was younger, I was a smoker, and we had timed how long a cigarette took. It was 2.5 minutes. And I don't know if that's changed or with brand, but also it takes the same amount of time to sharpen a pencil. I would say that is a much better habit to have, of course. Last night I was doing homework. I haven't really taken a drawing class in many years. Mostly I just study painting, and the rest drawing I learned from hanging out with you guys, my peers. So I'm auditing this class, and it's a Reilly class. So I have some stuff I'll talk about and show today, and maybe you'll learn as much just from me on the live stream that's useful for you, and then you don't have to take a class or audit a class. Man, when you have a busy life like me, it's hard to sit down and do the classwork. So it tends to be a night thing. Man, like that would have been on the paper. Okay, so I might tilt up after and show you guys the images I'm using, but let's quickly talk about the homework I'm doing. So this image was given to me by Luke, and you can get it at fredfixler.com, but it's the Reilly rhythms, and I'm going to try to draw using just the rhythms today. And I mean, a little bit of the techniques that I always expose on here are obviously still going to be used. They're habits I can't get rid of. Let's do this. So the rhythms, the torso is the first thing. These triangles we'll start with. We use curves, straights, so S-curves and arcs. So CSI is what I teach. They do it different at Watts. Plumb lines to figure out what's center, negative shapes to look at the spaces in between things, and just testing angles by holding up your pencil and looking. So basically, other than learning and memorizing these shapes to construct the body, to show dimensionality, the goal is to connect gesture to gesture. Now, a good friend of mine sent me some wonderful references, and I drew her using Reilly's rhythms. And I know you're out there watching right now, so I thought I would share your drawing here. So I think that's the level of finish we'll go to. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'll go to full render. When you see the images I've selected, they're all the back pretty much, because I've been learning the Reilly from the front, and I'm trying to figure out some of the stuff on the back, how it lines up to the map. So I'll show you some of the homework. I drew this guy. You can see the box for the hips. I don't know if that's, maybe it's too bright. There he is. But you can see it's just boxy shapes, and then showing the cylinders of the legs. So you can, maybe in our drawings we'll also put the shadow shapes, because then it describes a little more form. But it's almost like, it's different than the way that I work for sure, but I think learning it is going to be advantageous in the long run. So it might be awkward because, you know, I'm learning it. We start with head, neck, and shoulder. We take head measurements, and then you kind of go to town. I think they look, I mean, this pose is heroic, but I feel like the drawings will look comic-like. There's a female I did last night. So those two were done in like an hour. And we'll just study some of the shapes. So that was my week 1 and week 2 class work under Brian Knox at the, whoa, I forgot to turn that thing off. It thinks it's a person. I'm at the Watts Atelier online thing. And yeah, so straight line, cut. So I'm gonna pick one or two of these. So anytime I see, like, you know, you come across images when I was on Instagram or something, and I would just take a screenshot. And so, you know, free figure models are in photo form. I'm usually not searching for them, but they come up. And that's where the images, I'll tilt up in a second and show you that I've got to work from. And I'm going to change where the camera is anyways. Okay. So, I'm not sure if that's focused for you guys. I'll open them each. This is a study. After Elgrin, I guess, pinup artist, front facing and has like lots of nice gesture. And so I was thinking the structure of this drawing is really nice. That might be a 2-hour drawing. So we'll just shrink it down. And then these photos, and I don't know, one of them's from Instagram. What? Oh yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. It helps. You know, the channel doubled. The views last week were pretty good. I'm not really advertising and telling people what's going on. These are Instagram pictures I found. Some girl sitting. Also, I picked these because, you know, the things that you're not allowed to show on the internet aren't there. That's why I also mostly back, because I don't need this algorithm shutting me out again. This is Croquis Cafe. Of course, I didn't get the name of the model here, but it was just on their Instagram. I mean, if you email me, I can just send you my pictures. They're literally like screenshots off my phone. This one, I think, was from Model Society magazine or something. Really cool gesture shape there, right? So that one I will probably do after warming up, but I would put the shadow in there for sure, because I think that it's really beautiful. And you can see all sorts of muscles and stuff, which we have been working on over the weeks with the Sabine Howard drawings. Anyways, so it's not a master copy this week. We'll see how many I can do of these. I really want to work on the construction aspect and then kind of find where the muscles and things are. Oh yeah, and I'll show me. Why not? Yeah. Hey. Let's see. There I am. Hey. Got all sorts of fun things to talk about today as well. I'm in a great mood because it rained, and I love liquid sunshine. So, hey, there's our skeleton friend. Let's get working here. If you're just listening, or you want to join the chat, please do. You know, this YouTube channel thing, like, it would be perfect if it was kind of, if it had some of the items of Zoom, because then I could share my screen. I'll figure something out though. I'm sure it can. I'm just not set up for it. Maybe we'll get a second camera so you can see the stress and confusion on my face. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the girl sitting with her back, because I feel like that's the simplest and I need to warm up. All right. So I've got my image in front of me, and I'm gonna just do it the way that I was taught recently, and it's similar to what I say. Find the top of your drawing, the bottom of your drawing, and I actually saw the teacher was doing it this way, Brian Knox. You can imagine that plum. I'll just draw it because you guys can see it then. I don't mind seeing the construction in this type of drawing at all. I really like how Sabine left his grids in there and stuff too. I think there's reason for it. Now, when I'm looking at the model, I'm looking, where's this line gonna go? And she has this strong arm, sense of an arm there. So I'm gonna just measure out and try to find half, because I can find half on the paper. And by the way, I have discovered that I got lazy. I used to measure it. So you take your pencil, your finger, and you check. And I have always been putting the line up higher. Now I'm wondering if that's because here at the Atelier, we're doing Roman style figure, which means that the model is up on a very high platform. And so you get this illusion, the legs are a little longer and the torso is a little shorter. And so it's become a habit for me now, because I started measuring, and if you look here, the top will be shorter than the bottom. So I need to move it down. You know, these things you discover as you go. Habits, blind spots, as it were. All right. So we first find our halfway point, and then I'm going to measure and figure out the halfway point on my image. I hope there is one. Oh boy. There's one, but it's not going to be easy. There's no real landmark here for halfway. So it's between the olecranon, the elbow, and the bottom of her breast. That's where the rib cage pushes out. So it's not great, and she's at this long angle. So I'm hoping this is going to work. So I know that her elbow will be somewhere down here. I need some sort of landmark, some sort of reminder, and the other part will be out here. So now that I know that, I want to find out how many head lengths does it get me to center line. Okay, so I'm going to measure her head, because we're going to go head, shoulders, chest, and move down. We're going to follow the plan. So it's about 2 and a little bit. So I'll take the little bit off and I'll half it. And I'll check the measurement. Adequate. The head crosses over to the right. So let's get a head shape in. And this is all simplified. We're not going for a full portrait here. It's nice to know where the ear is, if you can see it, and a brow line. Maybe I'll draw her head in later, but it's quite big. So we got the head. Maybe for the sake of it, I'll find the nose too. Maybe even I'll get this blocked in, and then we could try to draw it to look like the pinup. Who knows? Okay, so you get the head in there, and then you figure out the curve of the neck. And the neck is always using C-curves. So all the lines are CSI that you use. So straight line, curve. So the neck goes like this. It goes under her chin this way. And I would suggest that that's right behind the line. Maybe we'll just put it going back. So one of the things I'm realizing is to be cognizant of the direction and the overlap of these tube forms, I guess. Oh, you guys are on this chat today. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Croquis Cafe costs money now. But you can get the free images off Croquis Cafe, how I said. I was just screenshotting the Instagram. I'm not doing the whole collection. I'm just taking it How does he not hurt his hand? Like this? Like this? Like this? How do I... Can you do these exercises where you turn your hand 360 degrees? It's all actually in the elbow. And I've dirtied up my page. That's funny. I should make people do that in class. You got to know what your body can do. You know? I hope you guys can see this. Okay. So C shape for the front. I did the thirds for the head. We might as well, while we're here, put a little hair in, which goes on top of the head shape. Because I like to have a little bit of value at the start. Makes me feel like I did more work. There we go. Her eyebrow will be there. Anyways, so as we go down from the neck, we get the cervical vertebrae. I'll just draw a circle there. And there's a negative shape, like my finger under the neck. So we got the trap, the acromion process, which is directly below the ear. I'll draw circles for that. But that's not what you would do with Reilly. And then the shoulder. So we're trying to get all up here first. And like I said, I haven't done a back yet. You saw my practice stuff, but I think I know enough of how to dissect it. Might maybe even take a measure. Perfect. So directly below the chin is the deltoid. Okay, this might be a little tough for me now. So her head does look enormous in this reference. Okay. So I need to find where the end of the pubic bone is, the pelvis. And it seems to be right about there. I can measure it. If I go from the vertebrae straight down, so this is a plumb line, the idea of plumb. It ends about there. And there's a diagonal to the hips. Now, in the front rhythm, you go from the shoulders to that front point, which would be here. And from the back, you go from the neck down to the hips. And her hip goes as far as her shoulder. It looks like an hourglass. And for a lady, of course, the hourglass is wider at the base. And they should be slightly curved. And they curve the same way. Because there's some sort of twisting action we want to convey. Okay? We'll see if this works out, guys. I don't even know. And then we want, well, I've only done the front here for the breast. So we want to kind of cut out where the deltoid meets the arm. And I can't even see this one. Okay, so now, okay, I've got my base structure. I'm going to find where the rib cage is. And it seems to come out this way, and we see a little bit of it further out than the shoulder. It's leaning. And its end is about the halfway point. A little bit lower. So here, I think. And the that oval should crest up to the vertebrae on the back of the neck. It's higher at the back, the circle that we're going to use. Okay. Good. Now a center line down the body, meaning the line of the spine. So we have that vertebrae. It's an S curve. It goes to the scapula, down to, it should be in the center of the ribs, and then it kind of shoots back. Ooh, maybe I curved her back a little too much. Okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'll clean it up a little bit. Maybe smooth it out. So trying to get all the curves we can. And this is quite different than the way that I normally draw, so I'm not here to mislead you. I'm just trying to get my study on. So for the boxiness of the hips, or a cylindricalness, they're going this way. I'll just plumb that out a little more. Should be like that. I'm sure that, okay, this is the back view, so that must be the circle, a circle butt. That makes sense to me. Like I said, I haven't actually learned this yet. I'm jumping ahead. That's how Bunny rolls. Okay. Let's, so that must be the bending of the back there. I can see the mound of Venus, and then this triangle must represent the sacrum, which I can see clearly on this model. Okay. It's right here. And that diagonal. Oh, so this rhythm here can attach, this rhythm here can attach like an S curve down to the sacrum from the shoulders. And it should curve the same way. Okay, okay. See what's going on here? It's like a kite shape or something. We got this. Learn by doing. It's kind of like learning sacred geometry a little bit. All right. So I guess, let me just check. What do we do after that? We, I think we just extrude the legs now. Let me check my notes. Center line. Did that. Pec and arm, like that was for the front. Plumb line, glute. Okay, legs. We did head, neck, and shoulder. That's the main thing. Still working down, right? Okay. So the leg, I mean, this rhythm's pretty easy. A curve. And there's a diagonal that goes from the head to the leg. And the leg is around the halfway point. To the glute. Okay, let's go with that. One thing that was mentioned too, and I think, you know, I often, this is where some of my challenges are, is in widths. But by drawing with this method, you're constantly checking widths. So things might seem a little skinny at first, but you can add a little bit of muscle on top of it. Okay. And then the feet, they kind of follow this circular pattern. The teacher of the Watts thing is a lot more accurate than I'm being. That just comes with practice and time, I think. But also a big difference in speed. I work a lot quicker, and that might come from the having been taught sketchy line. Okay. Oblique to hip. There's like a negative shape here between the feet. One thing I like doing when I draw feet is separating the big toe from the rest. There we go. Put the feet like that. Okay. Now the arm. We have that shoulder area. And the whole arm, it goes down to the base here. It goes down to the bottom. I just want to take a quick measure of this hand. This hand is relative to the head size nearly. Whew. So, might look a little weird at first. I found actually that while I was drawing with this method, I got lost quite a bit. It was confusing because it's not the way I'm used to constructing the drawing, but the hand is split into two. So the wrist to the first middle knuckle is equidistant to the fingers. So you can just box that in half. Sometimes I just group the fingers together and I actually draw the shape in between the fingers rather than the fingers themselves. These fingers go quite far. This model has incredibly bony hands. Like my grandma's. Okay. Make the wrist a little smaller. So the whole arm just kind of travels down like this. So this is still gesture, right? I'll build up the forms in a second. Like that. Pretty good. Get I think her rib cage now needs to be a little smaller, a little brought in. And we use oval shapes for the part that remains unnamed. And my thought is that these are not real, just based on the fact that they stick out further than her head. So we'll shrink them back. I don't want my drawing to look like I'm a 14-year-old boy who's obsessed. And if it were the front, I'd know how to draw that rhythm, but we're trying a new thing today. Okay. And you only use the ones that you need. So the rib cage comes down, and it will go back towards the stomach. And then the oblique will be over top, like that. That's where some of our overlap happens. Here, this is the overlap. And the backhand. Negative space. Yeah, actually, I like that about the Reilly method, the way I'm learning it, is there is the use of negative space and shapes. When I was teaching at AU Arts, I would do all sorts of exercises to explain negative shapes. My favorite being, I would bring a bunch of string and I would turn stools upside down and I would say, you can draw the stools and the string, but you aren't allowed to draw the stools or the string. You can only draw the space in between. And that was like, a brand new art student, like, mind blown. Ow. I feel like I'm too wide as well. So, we'll do a comparison after to see how this worked out. the scapula down the back. And then just to be aware of how the leg is rounded, it squares off at the knee obviously, we'll add that in. So with the arm we're seeing a little bit upturn, and with the forearm we're seeing downturn. So let's go for some shape in this arm. The shoulder is in front of the bicep. She actually has a bicep. And the elbow, right about there, olecranon. It's straight at the back of the tricep. There's a tendon back there, and then it gets fatter. Okay. You know, for first time doing it this way, it seems to be working out. We've got some infraspinatus, teres major flexion. We've got a dimple here. I don't know, this isn't gesture part, but the neck is traveling this way away from us. Some lipstick. She looks like the Joker right now. That's okay. Check that those eyes are halfway. They curl up further. Wow. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit more detail now. All right. I think it might be nice. I'll do the forearm. So the forearm comes up boxy, and about halfway down it straightens out. You know, I should have timed this. Should have timed it. Dropping the plum. We're almost there. I don't want to go too much further. This is it. This is a drawing, you know? I think maybe I'll drop the hip down a little bit though. This looks a little too high. I mean, that was a pretty easy lay-in. Ah, I broke my pencil. Yeah, there we go. Good enough. That's sad when the pencil breaks like that. Okay, let's compare it against the reference. Oh, I forgot her back arm. Sorry. I'll use this little tiny thing here. Forgot her back arm. So her finger is by the eye. Just draw it as a box shape. The wrist curls. Right, we got the thumb would be up here. I think it's behind her nose. And then the forearm curves. We get a cast shadow on this arm from the flash. This is a tacky photo, I think. Okay, there we go. Done. Drawn with the Reilly rhythms. Let's look. Oh God, I hope it's not way out of whack. A work in progress. Okay. I mean, wait, the scale's a little different, but you get the idea. So let's look. Let's look at our rhythms. I need 2 clips. I know where they are. So I must have gone too wide. Maybe I can get her, blow her up, and we'll see how. I mean, it's not that far off. Maybe your torso, my torso's not long enough, as I think what the problem is. Okay. Close, close. Okay. My hips are at the wrong angle too. It's close though. Anyways, that's how we practice. There we go. Oh. My butt and yeah, it's like I lost a little bit of neck and shoulder length. Maybe her head was too big. But constructed. Okay, next one. On to the next. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. The next one I'm going to try is this one. So I'm just putting that up so you guys can see. I'll obviously draw it smaller than that. You could screenshot if you really wanted. This was a Croquis Cafe. Who knows? It could have been from a year ago. But it's got that tube shape of the back heading away. So we'll see how we do with this one. Okay. I'll just tilt back down. This one is very square in shape as well, in terms of the area we'll take up on the page. Not as long and slender. Let me just make sure I'm in your guys' field of view before I commit. Okay. Okay. So, in this case, the body's going to be off to one side. Let's go with the end of this Pierre Noir 1710B that's in this holder, because then I have an excuse. Oh, it's still got a little length. Okay. So she's going to mostly be over here. I'm just going to figure out a height to width. So she is taller than she is wide. So I've got my paper the right way. She's about a fifth shorter on this side. And then I'm going to mark my page. If it's this wide, that means I can go that much longer. Whew, let's hope this works. Yeah, that'll work. So I took a quick measure. So she's not quite as long as the last model. The majority of the work is down here. So I'm going to call that plumb down the side of her head by her little bun down to the great trochanter, and then everything's going to shift up. Okay, so we're not gesture drawing. I'm just going to follow the plan again and try to use this Reilly thing. And here we got a little bit of calf at least to draw. And the halfway point. I'll take a measure, right, just to make sure that I'm actually doing the right thing. And then I'm going to find a halfway point on my reference. And if you speak Igpe Atelier, you will know that the halfway oint pe isa at the Ipelne. Take that. And so I will measure what I propose as a head length from the top of the head to the jaw. It's 2.5 again, so I'll take a little bit off and I'll split that in half. I'll just check my measure again because on the last one I screwed it up. Something that will remain unnamed shall be about here actually. I'm going to try to really stretch myself out and get the arm going like this. Okay, let's try the method again. So we start with the cranial mass, and I have to propose where this length is, just from knowledge, because this is why I love the cranial masses in the method that I teach, because we can't see the total head length. It's somewhere in there. Ears, they're crusting up over the head. And from the ear, we're going to start the neck here. The sternocleidomastoid comes down in a C shape. But the neck, which comes at the back here, goes this way. And it's quite outstretched. In fact, it could be a little bit more curved. You know what? Drawing with this, my favorite pencil, feels better. And then the C shape of the neck. So what do? We go neck. Wait, where'd the notes go? Neck, shoulders, head, neck, shoulder. Okay? The shoulders kind of have a curve shape here. Oh, good. Back to curves. That girdle of the shoulder. From the acromion process across, we could kind of express with a straight line. The shoulder is twice as long on this side than this side, which is good. And I've got it hanging over that part that I can't name on YouTube. Traps. Curved traps. Acromion process. And maybe I kind of imagine a diagonal. Yep, that works. Yep, that works. Maybe right to there. Actually, maybe a little less. Okay? It's working so far. Ear, head, and for the sake of fun, we'll put the bun on there too. The hair line goes like this. Okay. So we got the shoulder, and maybe I'll just draw a little spike there. From the front, you would draw the clavicle. From the back, there's nothing really there. Okay, so then we can put the shoulders in, at least the deltoid aspect. Okay. Now we do those finding the pelvic area. So I'm just gonna float my hands around and pick right there. So if I use a plumb line from that shoulder, it's to a little bit to the left there. If I take a head measurement, that doesn't really work. How far over? Got to puzzle this out. One head measurement over. Just a little bit over. And it's not quite a head measurement up. So that's pretty good. I trust myself at least. So now we got to find that B. And this is a tough one, I think, because it's curving. So it seems that there's one coming from the front, like this. And one coming from here, like this. Oh, boy. Oh yeah, and then the shoulders to the hips. So the shoulders, the hip will be here. And this hip is just below the halfway point. Jeez. Okay, okay. This might work. Then, got to draw where the pelvis is. So I'm going to use a box shape this time, I think. I can kind of see, you know, this curving tattoo-like tan line. Put it like that. Go like this. It's higher than the hand will be. And we can kind of see into it, essentially. Like that. And further along. Okay. Sure. Boy, Reilly, making it hard here. Let's try to use this, the chest cavity now. We can see it where it ends below the acromion process. The interesting thing is on the other side of it is where the belly button and we don't see it under here at all. It's behind the arm. And if I measure, it should be 4 cranial masses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So we're looking pretty good there. So that part's similar. Like I always draw the chest there. And we also have now the center line. So from the ear down, using a plumb, this is where your 7th cervical vertebrae would be between the 2 acromion processes. We've got a line traveling down the pinch of the back of the scapula. Then it kind of goes in and it curves around like that. All right. Maybe not that thick. I don't know where my needle eraser is. Okay. All right. Latin names. I don't know them though. Okay, so let's start drawing in the hip to the trochanter, which is about here. Wonder if I've gone too far. Maybe I made her shoulder too wide. This is so different than the way I measure. We gotta try techniques and see where our blind spots are though, right? Okay. Okay, so I think I could go from the shoulder down. There's pinching here. That's always nice to express. The folds. Then the outside of the oblique to the hip. Whoa, bunny. It's a little cartoony. Use more of the tip. All right. Maybe I'll show where I think the sacrum is. It's not really on there, but, and I guess this circle here that's like a heart shape. I don't know how to use it, but it'd be wider on this side. All right. And then we want to do a gesture for the arm. It goes down like this to a thin wrist. Then the hand, which will draw as a box. In the exercises of what I was learning, you put the feet in and kind of you draw the feet and then move up. But these feet aren't grounded, so the hand down here is what's grounding it. Okay, there's our hand. I'm going to draw it a little bit more boxy to the ulna. The elbow would be somewhere down here. A little higher up. So we've got the forearm. Bulge is here. There's 3 little folds of these muscles, and then it goes straight. So it's getting rounder and rounder as it goes. And we're looking down at it so we can actually see that roundness. There's a tendon shadow, but okay. Tricep. Sure. What's the Latin name for this bit? So we can post it in the comments and then I can use it in the future. I haven't learned it as an artist, but I'm sure it's got a medical term. Share it with me, what you know. Okay. So they do draw a straight line across the acromion process here. This one, the neck to the hips. We got that in there. What was the other thing that they said? Oh yeah, so, wait, we'll get the leg in. We can just do this as a gesture. You only draw in structure between the areas that are gesture with this type of drawing. But I'm also going to put in the shadows, the bed bug line, curving around the neck. And trap, acromion process, and just follow it down. It goes across the trap, there's a little divot here where it's flexing. This is all trapped down here, down to the center of the back. And then you can see the scapula and that follows the rhythm. That's kind of neat. And then all this area of compression is dark. The spine muscles flexing because the weight is shifted up. And there's like shadow on the bottom of the leg. Just got to think of where the light's coming from and what it's describing. It's coming from here. And because the body is going forward like this, that's all in shadow too. So I feel like I made her too wide. We'll see that when we do the comparison again. But it's quick. Maybe it looks fine on the overhead view. All right, the shoulder, arm. I'm looking at the negative space here. Should be starting higher up. So this hip might go up higher. That's good that it's in shadow. I can just add it in. The elbow. That's where I use my straight lines. The rest of the time I'm just trying to curve things. So we've got the thumb, the knuckles, fingers. They're all ending outside this leg. This knee is in alignment here, so I'm using plumb again, but a horizontal one. Curving that forearm. All in shadow. So we got the knee out to the foot. I am going to take a measurement and figure out how far. This foreshortening thing can really mess you up. So this distance is equal to this distance. Nice. And the foot is plumb with the elbow. Toes, angle, malleolus. Heel. Hey, we might be able to use some of this calf stuff now. Calf, so it's pinched up under the tendon here, but it kind of goes out. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. And comes in. And there is a table right here. Sure. The other foot, oh yeah, and then the hip here, coming around, gluteus medius, gluteus maximus, and then there's like the foot, the other foot. They're both the same length. So I messed something up here. Maybe I made this foot too big. All right. Or this is too wide. All right, let's look. We'll just finish that off. That's enough structure, I think. Oh yeah, and we can show the, for the sake of it, show the roundness of the arm. Not a terrible thing to do. Since we're trying to describe that three-dimensional nature of things. Like, that's graphical, but it can help get your mind thinking that way of creating that illusion as well. Shrink that down a little bit. Okay. This might be a little big. So 2 drawings. Quickly, like warm-ups. Just over 20 minutes each. Maybe not even that long, actually. What we would call the lay-in, maybe. Okay. Let's look here. All right. I got a boring screen for you guys right now. We'll compare. I like the comparisons. Whoop. And zoom in. Okay. Give me a second to think out loud. I made her shoulders probably way too wide. If I can make it a little bit bigger, maybe. It's there. Not as accurate as my way, but I'm drawing a little. My drawing's about 5% bigger. Maybe if I can grow it. What do I do? Nope. Bear with me. Right. So I just go plus, and then shrink it. No. No. Damn. Well, mine is slightly bigger, but things look to be lining up fairly well. My hand is a little bit longer too. But yeah, man wide. I draw men so much, that's bad. I made the shoulders too wide. But there it is, another one. Voila, let's do another one. In fact, it's been an hour. Now I feel warmed up. Time for a shower. Let's take a little break. Pee break, water break. Whatever kind of break. Gong with the flow. That's how I do it. We're just having fun. Okay. So I'm gonna put the little 7-minute video on that I made before. What do we want? Triangles, stars. How about triangles? See you guys in 7. Join in with me when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. Let me tell you about some news that's going on. I'm making a tea right now, not kratom, just a regular Atelier tea. We've been only be going just over an hour, so I'm gonna, I think, spend twice as long of a session on the, hey, Greg's here, hey buddy. Twice as long on the session on this back one, and maybe we'll start to find some of the muscles and stuff and not do such a simplified Reilly. So maybe I'll work a little bit slower, sip my tea. So it's been months since my roommate's been home, and I just got a text from him. He's on the road. I did visit him when I was up at the lake, and it's nice not seeing him and having the house to myself, but he's coming home tonight. I've got lots on the go tomorrow, so it would be nice to check in with him after this drawing session. But usually when Ray's home, that means a bunch of dudes trying to get away from their wives show up at my house and they drink and they're loud all night. So hopefully that's not the case. I'm sure he has some steam to burn off, but gotta make sure the ship doesn't go down while I'm away. Other things, and if Mr. Cletus is out there, he can spread the joy with me. Me and a fellow artist here in Calgary have been accepted to a residency in France at Chateau Reilly. Actually, I don't know how to say it, so some chateau in France, and it's pretty exciting. That night, before I found out, I had a dream that I was in like a horror video game that took place in a French castle. And there was art all on the walls. And yeah, it was like, they were like Skeksis aristocrats, and we had to like kill them and make art. And then I met the love of my life in the dream, and I woke up. And 3 hours later, I get the email from the chateau actually accepting me for this residency, and I text other person who applied, and I said, hey, did you find out from them yet? He found out today, anyways, as far as I know. And then I had told him my dream, but I hadn't put the two and two together. So, in some way, my spiritual growth has allowed me to have a prophetic dream. In some way, I think. Maybe too, I was like, hey, why haven't they got back to me yet? I don't know. But I thought that was pretty neat. And good news for Bunny. Okay, making my tea. I'm gonna tilt the camera up quickly so you guys can see the back piece I'll be drawing. And then if you wanted to draw along, you could just screenshot it. I don't know how filming off of a TV goes. I'm trying not to break any copyright Osley, but you know, this is out there somewhere. So that's what I'm gonna draw. Is it even focusing? Is that focus? Oh, don't take a photo. Anyways, I love the shape of her back and just the strength with the light and that balance. So while I'm waiting for my tea to finish, let's just talk quickly about this, the plumb line. I'm gonna do this one a little bit different because I'm gonna start with a gesture, probably from her finger all the way a C shape down to the foot. Because something's up with the way that I'm building with the Reilly. They're getting too wide and boxy. And the other thing is, I don't want it to be like I know they're saying go head, neck, shoulders, but there's not a lot head, neck, shoulder there. It's like a half circle. So I think really I gotta go back to some of my roots and get the gesture in there first so that I don't lose that huge bending form. So that's my plan. And I'll probably just draw this, I don't know, till I'm done. This seems all right. Okay, let's tilt it. Wait, I gotta see what I'm doing here. Waka waka, it's getting crazier and lazier, this channel. Maybe I'll have a plan in a few weeks again, and I mean, I don't know what this live stream is. I'm just glad you guys joined me. I love you for it. It pumps me up to know that other people care about this stuff. Tea time. one other piece of BS I want to bring up. Guys, I know that the odds of winning the lottery are so terrible, it's probably better for you to take your $6 and buy something else. And I watched the lottery the last 3 weeks because my neighbor Greg, he likes the lottery. He's obsessed. He buys it every time, and one day he's going to win it. Leave us, and then I'll have a patron to the arts. But I was a sucker. I drove yesterday and bought a lottery ticket because 70 million seems like too much not to put your $6 in. Just because if it did happen, it's like, man, I'm glad I spent that $6. However, nobody won it like the previous 3 weeks. And I'm thinking that's pretty odd because it's almost too much. It creates gamblers. It's almost too much money, so everyone's thinking the way I am. I regularly would never ever play the lottery because I know the odds. So I'm buying the lotto ticket, and the guy, he's a Korean guy who owns the store. He's like, "Where'd you come from?" Because I was in painting clothes, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm up at C-Space. I got an art school up there." I'm like, "I just came down because this lottery is too big for me not to buy a ticket." And he pats his chest, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got mine right here." And I'm like, "Well, you better sell me two then." And when I walk out of this store, you'll know who the lucky one is if I get hit by a shark. And he just looked at me surprised, and I said, "Because that's the odds. We're more likely to get hit by a shark falling from the sky than winning the lottery." Anyhow. Obviously, nobody won it. If I won it, I have plans. I've planned the money. I'm going to put everything into the arts in this city for sure, and take care of my family, of course. But I think, you got to have a plan. Otherwise, you're going to blow the money. Probably on blow and honey, but yeah. So no one won it. So I took my tickets in because sometimes you win a free play, and I didn't. And I bought another one. Damn it. I can't believe that. Yes, I'm so ashamed. I bought another one. So that's like $18. Now, I could have bought BlackBerry stock with $18, which is highly volatile right now, but I would have been guaranteed to make $1. Anyways, I feel like an idiot. If I win 70 million, I would be like, I knew it. I knew that was going to happen, but I don't know. It's just not rational or responsible or a very Virgo thing. So I was taking my chances. Oh, thanks, Greg. Residency. Yep, I'm in there. The residency in France did come with like a 760 euro prize. So I got a scholarship, but it's still very expensive. Next June, exactly a year from now, actually. And I'm hoping that my good friend and teacher here and I can go at the same time because I think, he's a good friend and I would like more opportunity for us to bond. He's also, I think, pretty fluent in French, whereas I trip over my words, so I think the experience would be different. I went to French immersion, so I can read French fairly well. But I don't know. I'm too nervous to speak it, I think. I was chicken. And in this building, we have Alliance Française, and I studied there for years. I could just go downstairs and take French classes, but that's beside the point. Okay, let's do a combination where we kind of use Reilly. Obviously, I need to work on it a lot more and learn a lot more. I only took 2 classes. I've got 3 more, and maybe it will cover the back. I'll come back to you guys, and I just wanted to bring it up because it's what interests me right now, and whatever I find interesting is usually good to talk about. So let's say the top is here. Oh, this is nice and dirty. Dirty pencil, when you don't wipe it off. And the bottom's going to be around here. I adjusted the camera to be a little bit better for you guys too. And I guess this province might open up soon, so if there's enough people and all the crap is out of my studio, we can get together and hire some of these models. I'm guessing that's July, so don't get too excited if you're listening to my jabberjaw. Okay, so let me first start with what I would consider the gesture. Now this would be in my mind, but I'm gonna put it down. Okay, that might be over accentuated, but, and a plumb line, ish. You know, a gesture is always more exaggerated. So she'll be drawn here and here, you know, but it's to give me that big C curve so that I don't lose it. Let's do a halfway. Actually, a lot of these tricks that I share, like I didn't originate any of this stuff, just to be clear. One of the seniors in like, after being here for 2 years showed me like, you can just do this. But I have find that one hand that falls down travels faster than the one that travels up. And if you switch from left to right, you get different speeds too. So you still have to measure if you can, okay? All right, and I'm going to put our head here. I guess this is gonna be more loose than gestural. The arms would be like this. So gesture, like sometimes looks like a stick man. Or woman in this case. Look at the negative shape. Maybe get that where the foot is. Okay, now let's try to use the Reilly a little bit. So I didn't measure this time. Whatever, right? That's one of the things I feel like has been coming out more and more in this live stream is my kind of blasé attitude to things, which I've learned from doing this commercial artwork, because you just got to get the job done sometimes. And these are just warm-ups, and you guys are artists out there, you know that you're constantly judging yourself and is this good? And here I'm just like, this is just exercise, right? This is newsprint, 15 cents, it's gonna yellow, who cares? Let's get the work done, let's get our practice in. Okay, the neck. Now I know it's up here, I can't see it. The traps. This one's buff. The traps. The achromium process. Okay. Let's go a straight line for that. And I'm betting that straight line, basically from achromium process to achromium process, is more actually representative of the top of the scapula. I mean, these rhythms are not structure. They're still gestural rhythms. Okay, and then we figured out the pelvis so that we could get the big triangles. Okay, I'm guessing the pelvis is here. If I take a plumb line straight from the head, yeah, I'm gonna say there. I guess this is where there's some guesswork. So from the shoulder to the sacrum, there's one. From the shoulder to the sacrum, and they curve the same way. Now there's the ones from the neck to the hip. So the neck to the hip, neck to the hip. Sure, I think that works. It's such a weird thing. But with practice, the neck is probably supposed to be C-shaped this way. That guides it, but whatever. Whatever. Okay, okay. Oh, yes, and then it was the rib cage. And I can kind of see that the ribs are coming out over here. Goes up against the cervical vertebrae. This is the stretch side, so maybe it only goes up to that line. Okay, that's that circle there. Maybe it's too big. I did do that last time, right? But I definitely see it sticking out from where the shoulder blade is. Yeah, it might be smaller, but let's go with that. We can only learn by failing, I find. It's like you want to have all the information, right? You get your research, you get your practice, and then you got to apply it. And that's where you learn what you don't know, and then you add that in. Okay, and then I guess kind of center line down the back. Curves to the sacrum. All right. It's so weird looking. I guess I like the classical method. I would have just cut this out already. Okay. Then we want to, well, you can draw the feet, but I feel like I'm already in a place that I can just do the curve of the leg. I know it's going to come down to exactly, down there, someplace. And the inside curve of the leg, which should meet up to the sacrum. Oh yeah, the box form of the hip. Okay. It's going away from me. The box is going away. And of course there's perspective, but we can see this almost the side of the trochanter. And it goes to the aces right there. There's our box. It's a little long, actually. I often use the cylinder or the reverse bucket method. Oh my God. That reminds me. I got a new book. I got to take a book break. I've been waiting for this book for months. Okay, it was $150, and I pre-ordered it months and months ago, and it's smaller than I thought, and I thought it was going to be hardcover. Stonehouse's Anatomy. So this is a Yi Yong Seok, and he spent 7 years studying. I put my name on it because it's too valuable. Well, the school's name. It's in the bookshelf here. Anyways, he made this amazing book. It's kind of like a comic book. I just can't wait to read it. And it's all about anatomy. And I don't know, to me it's like the coolest anatomy book. So it is not on my anatomy book list. And I had insertion points like, come on, this thing is awesome. Awesome. I own it. If you want to check it out, come by the studio and take a look. Because I know, $150 plus shipping is a lot. You can only get it from Labyrinth Books in Ontario. This isn't like an Amazon thing. I don't know if it's just small press. Super Annie. If you have a friend in the US, you can get the book for like half the price. But then you have to get it shipped. There's no companies in the US shipping this book to Canada. Oh yeah. It even smells good. So I can't wait to go through this summer. My idea is to always draw from books. Maybe we'll even do one of these live streams and talk about the book. But I would like to start doing book reviews and drawings from them that I could post for you guys. It's a time thing, and it seems like I never have enough. It turns out things are fine here. The boys from Metrographics brought in so much more work. I've got 3 more topographical maps to paint, and I'm going to Waterton all next week, and then Saskatchewan. So it's going to be a busy time. Another thing is, this week you can drop off art for Petite's masterpieces. Half the money goes to Elephant Ear, and half goes to the artist. So if you want to make a little 5x7 piece of art, the drop off is at my studio. Make like 10 things, make $100. PetiteMasterpieces.ca. It's through the Calgary Allied Arts Foundation, which I'm president of, and I should be promoting this, but I'm off social media right now. Let's look at that more straight on. Okay, back to what I was doing. That was an exciting tangent for me. Now, I feel like I should bring that box out here a little bit more, to be honest. And maybe that's because the side of the box needs just to be wider. That's what's going on. Yeah. Okay, let's get the other foot in there. near my center line. Goes up. Oh, the Reillys. Goes up. C shape. Okay. And the arms, which we already had a gesture for. The hands are kind of like a spade shape in this case. And I made them way too big. The elbow, if I plumb across from the shoulder, is directly below the hand. That's why those hands are so big. That is not in proportion. They should be like that. And the outside from the process of the ulna, straight line. So there aren't that many straight lines. They tend to be where the joints are. Hard areas. Everything else tends to be curved. So we didn't draw the shoulder here, which I did in the other. So I'll put the shoulder on, the deltoid. If we want to get technical, we can change the shape a lot more. It's an S curve. The drop of the trap, and then it's more straight up by the elbow because of that tendon, so the muscle is actually there. And I'll leave that for now. We can use a negative space, but let's get this other arm. The other arm is like a cone going away from us. So there's trap, there's the deltoid. You know what? I actually, even though I'm very new to this technique, I feel like it's quick. I'm not qualified to teach it. I'm still learning it, but I feel like in addition to what you already know, it might be a useful tool. And when Luke comes back in the fall, I'm sure he'll be offering the Big Daddy course on it. I mean, you could also just do it by doing it. But sometimes it's nice to have those eyes. Now, these hands. Maybe her head is too small, but I'm looking at the negative space in here, and mine is too big. This forearm. Ulna. Hand. Yeah, maybe a little more hair. It's hair. We can just add it on, right? If you did this type of drawing in pencil or charcoal, it would rub out really nice. Okay. We won't give her the beefiest arms ever, like I did the last 2 times. You know, that's another thing. As soon as I see a muscle, I like over accentuate it. It's because I want them. And I once drew one of our models here who's quite muscular. She's an aerialist and a yoga teacher. And I gave her body dysmorphia because I had drawn her wider than she was tall in terms of beefcakeness. Keith, if you're on here, you would have remembered that. That was pretty funny. I was just so amazed by her physique that I was just like drawing all the muscles on top, and I didn't really have a good plan. But she's like, you gave me body dysmorphia, so you got to be careful as an artist, like whose feelings you hurt. It's funny. Because it's our job to like push the boundaries of things. And those aren't the boundaries you're supposed to be pushing. Okay, so I see where the ribs are, and so I'm gonna bring them down to where they're going to meet that stretch here. So I'm using this overall curve, but straight lines. Man, actually it's even stretch here. There's a compression here. That compression happens below the neck, and it's at the hip. So we'll put that in front. And that will give us our buns, our bunny buns. Okay. Hopefully I didn't overdo those. So we can see the pressing else there of the aces. And it comes in, and the front of the leg shoots out. All right. Oh, I guess I gotta move up a little bit. And we have this big stretch at the oblique, the ribs, oh, I think it needs to come out a little bit more underneath the shoulder. Okay. See how I did here. That can come out more. Great. I still think she looks too wide and manly. That shoulder needs to come in more, probably. That's okay there. The roundness of the arm, it's going away from us. Going away. And here we're below it, looking up. So there's a curve there. And it gets straighter as it goes. It goes like a turkey leg, round to square, round to square throughout the body. I like that rhythm. There's a rhythm. I'm gonna make this hand, this elbow, or sorry, this ulna lower, this process lower, and then make the hand become bigger. I think I went a little conservative on that one. So we're below it, curve, curve. I don't really have a plan after that. The legs, cylinders going away. Let's get the feet in. It's a wedge shape. The heel. Okay, so we describe, hey, this is fun. I haven't talked about this part or learned it. There's a lot going on down here, and we get to use it in this drawing. So, let's first determine where the backs of the knees are. It's the third way up, so a little higher. Okay. Because that leg's pointed away, and then the other one is down here somewhere. I'm just going to take a quick measure. Good. Or, as I'm learning to say, good enough. So we've got the leg coming down. There's that soft, lovely flush of the inner leg there. And it goes out at the side of the knees. And we'll make that more angular. We can't see the kneecap, obviously. Oops. This is how you use a very blunt instrument. This thing is dull. I have a feeling this leg is too thick. So I'm just going to bring it in a little tighter. Just like that's not actually that sharp and pointy or out that far, but caricature. Okay. Rib. Okay. Let's look at this rhythm. So at the back of the leg, yeah, and we see, I'll put the circles of the leg, because the center of her body's here, so we're starting to look down. So if you think about how a cylinder or column looks, whereas this leg is pointed away from us, that's why it's curved like that. Like that. Okay, we've got the curve. So the gastrocnemius, oh my God. My friend Paula recorded me how to say it. I don't think that was correct. I'll work on it. I'll be seeing you soon and we can work on my pronunciation. Okay. So I'm just like following these lines they've invented. Oh, that's nice. It's nice. I'm working on legs in another class, but we haven't done, once again, why did I pick back stuff if I haven't learned it yet? Oh my God. Well, you got to know what you don't know, right? This, I don't know. Down to the malleolus. That's working nice. That rhythm is good. I like it. It's right there. I can't see the upward strokes on this rhythm, but there's these long triangles that go to the feet that will represent the Achilles tendon. It's probably something like that. Let's try this one. So normally I would just draw an oval, but the heel of the foot is right about here. She's really flexing this foot. Flipper foot. Ankle. That helps. And Achilles. And then let's follow this. See if we can follow this rhythm. The medial side. Sure. And then there's like, I can actually see the muscles going up here. The lateral side. Make sure that those legs are skinny enough. That's a little bit better. Yeah, I think basically I just made them too thick. A constant issue for myself. Okay, that's kind of cool. We can see some more indications. The dimples of Venus, right there. I like those landmarks. The erector spinae travels up between. So now we can start, now that we have that cool shape in there, maybe that looks better. I bet I didn't even push this hip out far enough, but we'll find out. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just take my kneadable eraser and just roll over this. It's only 7:46, so we're gonna block in the shadow shapes. I like lightening it, especially when using a very blunt pencil. Everything's getting too thick. So just lightening it allows, you guys can still see it on the video at least. I feel like my legs are too short, but let's go for it. Okay, now, you know, as a form of notation, let's just follow the bed bug shadow line and try to be a little more exacting and show some of the knowledge of the forms. Just to give it a little bit more realism. Travels down the arm, gets a little softer as it gets a little wider down the forearm, and then it's soft, but it's a cast shadow from the head, and so it shows the roundness of the arm right there. We'll accentuate that. Okay, the elbow is sticking out a little bit hard. You can see the fold of the arm going away from us. Maybe a little higher up. I'm now using a 2B, so Wolf's Carbon. It's lighter. It's a harder, firmer pencil, so you have to press a little harder and it won't be quite as dark. So light is going past and catching on the dimples that happen on the une or multi-pennant parts of the deltoid. And then there's a darker cast shadow on this side. And I'm not even gonna smudge this stuff. Just, well, maybe a little. Yeah, maybe a little. Okay. We come down and we catch the scapula. And the trapula, the scapula and the trapula. So that's why the form of the shadow is following down that trapezius. And it comes down the back. So your lats go across about that same point where it's folding, where it's bending. The traps come in and the lats go out. So we can rock the contour a little bit more. There are more undulations here than just one form. So probably should show it, you know, if we want it to look all right. The information is there. This actually wouldn't be, I wonder if a model could hold this pose for long pose. It wouldn't be a bad pose to try to do when we get back in session. Judging by the angle, I'm not going far enough out. Mine has lost some of that beautiful C-shaped contour. So I'll just shove it out. Can do it now. So I'm going with the form right now. We're not doing any rendering, we're just mapping this thing. At the side here, at the obliques, let's curve it a little bit more. And then allow it to go out and down the glute. Oh yeah. Exciting. I kind of feel too like this is like a class right now, what we're doing. Because I'm watching these classes, maybe it's influenced me. Here I insisted that all the teachers did the first part of the class as demo. When I went to AU Arts, I never, ever saw an artist make work like a teacher. Never saw an artist draw in front of me. They might do a couple like scratchy things, but I never saw one just sit and draw. And so in a way, it always remained a mystery. So my rule was, and you know, the ateliers that I went to and the academies in Europe, you actually saw the skilled craftspeople work. And so when I opened this place, I was like, yeah, it's all demo. And part of what's nice about that is it gives the artist instructor a chance to also be honing their craft. Glute. And it's turning around. There is a little reflected light right there, so I'm just going to go over it lightly. So I'm just going down this side, and then I'll do this side, top to bottom. So this is like, okay, if you had a model standing here from life, and they're going to move. You can get photo reference later, but you want to capture the story of the body. Anything after this I consider rendering. Once you have that light and dark map, because then you're just turning the form, really. So anything more than this I would call long pose. So this isn't even quick sketch either. Quick sketch is, I think, anything under 20 minutes. And long pose is like, we call it anything over an hour here, long pose, but you know, up to 20 hours would be sufficient to call long pose. You could go longer, but we can't seem to do that here. Keith was running a class where the model kept coming back. We'll see what people want in the fall when we can hopefully reopen all the classes. For now, this is what you get, live stream. I'm hoping to get a little painting done myself this summer. I also have an opportunity to show at the Stampede this year, which is kind of cool because I'm not a Western artist, but I have been judging part of the Big Four thing, like what artists can get in, and also the teens. They have a teen competition. I think I've been judging that for 6 or 7 years at Swinton's. And so they asked, because everything's being thrown together so fast probably, they asked if we wanted to show the judges and the people of Swinton. So I'm going to show my tarot piece probably. It doesn't have to be Western either, which is kind of cool. And normally you have to apply in February and get accepted by the very group that I'm on the selection committee of. They used to have the auction, but they don't have that anymore. All right, so turn the form. A little bit of cross contour to insinuate the going away of the leg. The back of the tendon that goes up to the bicep femoris. Down the calf again. We'll just follow the form. And it gets soft, right? So a lot of times too, like I'll use a notation where I use the tip. So there's a hard edge right here. So I'll draw with the tip and then I'll just let it fade out. Because when I see this later, I know that I can just do that to render it. Because it's softer. That says it's harder or cast shadow. So I kind of just draw that way so that I have a notation. Back to my point about why you would do this well. Life drawing is not getting it perfect. It's training and learning and practicing. It's time management a lot of the time. It's not about getting that finished piece. You know, you see these finished pieces online and it's very deceptive because what you don't realize, like I post stuff and I don't care if it's not perfect. But a lot of these Atelier trained guys, like they're spending a lot more extra time or working from photo later. They're definitely not just putting up these ones like we're putting up. Just like, hey, this is what we're doing, you know? So you might have the tendency to be like, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't put this up, but don't be afraid. I would say that it's better if you share your work, you're an artist, so it's meant to be seen. And even if it's vulnerable or not great or not perfect, like sometimes, you know, the feedback from that is more useful. Or just, you know, not being afraid. I'm not saying to put stuff out there that you're really ashamed of, but even I'm always still learning. And so, yeah, people see a certain thing or they don't like a work and it's like, oh, well, it's not as good as the last thing. Well, who cares? You're making things. And that, I think, brings more constructive inspiration to others, is that you're actually just still going for it, even if it's not perfect, you know? And sometimes when you put it out there and you see it in different ways, smaller or whatever, on Instagram, you know, you just never know. So don't be afraid that it doesn't meet the requirements of your mind, because it never will. I mostly don't like a lot of work, and it's not self-deprecating. Yeah, a little hard on ourselves. So what? Sometimes it drives me crazy when people are like, you really shouldn't say that about yourself. It's like, yeah, I'm saying it from a different place than you think. Well, if you just watch The Secret, you can manifest anything. I actually had that conversation with someone today, and they're like, I'm really working on getting a Lexus. And I was like, oh my God, that is not the way these things work. Maybe work a second job. A Lexus costs money. You can't just wish it into being. That's such a Western, selfish way of looking at things. That if you feel it and you wish it, it'll come, you know? Oh my God. Sounds ridiculous to me. But I don't want a Lexus. I want a Tesla. Where's my Tesla truck? Okay, so the little mound of Venus, they're soft and they're subtle. It's that little dimples. Even men have them at the back. So cute. I think babies have them too, if I'm not mistaken. I have not really drawn any babies. It's not, I don't have them just around. When I have my own, maybe, I will only draw babies. And I'll become fascinated by those soft little creatures, those little Gerbers. Yeah, I never even drew my nephew. He doesn't sit still though, so that's understandable. Okay, so we're gonna get a deeper crease against the spine. Right, there's that aponeurosis right here, that thin skin. So we see the muscles that are below the aponeurosis now being flexed. It's just all stretched out, and this is a slow turn, so we'll just bring some shadow to it. I like when you can see like the rhomboid through the trap when it's stretched out, and you can see the angled muscles. Not quite here, we're getting some other interesting flexy bits. I guess I should erase some of my structure. The whole point for me was learning the structure in these drawings, right? That perfect practice, but now I'm talking and there's the erector spinae. It gets wider at the top. There's like two tubes. There's this tight one right here, and then the wider one right here, and that's underneath the aponeurosis. If you want to study the underlayer stuff more, I think there's a free video on Stan Prokopenko's thing. I think he gives a lot of his stuff away for free. I'm not sure what it would cost. Maybe there's if it's like a membership. I have listened to one of their podcasts called The Draftsman, and I don't know, it wasn't for me, but I like the guy he's talking to. He's an instructor at one of the art places, so it's really based for students, what they talk about. So it could be of interest. You can just listen to it while I'm talking even. Two birds, one stone, you know? I'm gonna trim this in. There we go. Okay, almost done this one. Flexion. Just like the erector spinae, there's two that go up the back of the neck as well. So we should get those in. This is all in shadow. So once again, I'll say I love that you guys leave comments and stuff, but I mean, what the heck am I doing on this? Every week it's different. I guess it's interesting. It's like having Bunny in your house. But, you know, except for me taking classes, I don't feel like I really have a direction. And I would like to please an audience so that the audience is happy and keeps coming back and keeps growing. You guys are pretty consistent. but I feel a little bit crazy sometimes because I don't know, unless you leave a comment, like I'm losing viewers. Are people just busy or what's going on? What can I do to make this better? Because already I am amazed anyone would turn this channel on. This is what I like to do. How do I increase the entertainment factor? Am I just ranting? I wouldn't care if people just turned it on and, sorry, I gotta move up. And didn't watch, but I got the numbers. Because over time, this YouTube thing can just keep growing. And I get practice. I am talking to some filmmakers, and I want to hire them to, because the live stream actually is pretty low quality. When I go back and watch it, I'm surprised how shitty it looks. Oh, God, did I say that out loud? How poo-poo-y it looks. But when I'm seeing it on my screen, and because I'm using a DSLR, it's super high quality. And I think when you watch it live, it's better quality. And when you go watch it as the archive, you actually have to select, because it will only play it at standard def, unless you select the high quality. And then it looks a little bit better, but something to do with the streaming changes it. So, yeah, I'm looking into investing in a good camera and filming these things outright, and then hiring an editor, and then maybe making them available as a high quality purchase that's more specific, because this looks like Zoom, you know, it looks like a live stream. It doesn't look like you know, an instructional video, which is how I would like it to appear, because I am shooting it really high quality. It just doesn't, the free pipeline that is BoobTube doesn't allow for the quality that I expect of things that I do. And then if I edit it later, well, so there we're getting there. This is closer to the angle that it should be at. I'm gonna put, because she looks all weird and floaty, I'm gonna actually put the shadow lines in off the wall so she's grounded. Otherwise she's like a fish. But the ones on the feet, that, and maybe even like a horizon line, that kind of grounds the image pretty fast. Now my roommate did comment on here, so I wonder if he heard what I said. So, not a full render. Little drawing. I'll put this up on social media. I figured out a way to get pictures on my social media without having to open it up. Normally you have to have the app on your phone, which I don't want to have. It's too distracting. Let's get a little bit more definition up here in the neck. It's a place that gets, just like in the front, it gets forgotten. All right. Let's put a signature on this too. So that was, what is it, the 9th? Yeah. We'll do a comparison. We'll do a comparison. Let me uh-oh. What did I just do? Oh, okay. Let me shrink the window. I still want to see you guys. If anyone's still there. Ah! The lights went out. One more hour of work time. One more hour to draw with me. One more hour. Bunny's live stream. Atelier Artista. What the heck? Okay. Look at all those blue lines there, your guys' views. So People keep going on and off or something here. But it doesn't tell me who. Okay. So we'll put this bad boy up. Maybe I'm just better at standing figures. Should have put paper behind it. Alright, I'm just going to stand back and look. You know what? That's almost the same size. Yeah, I really pushed that leg out there. Ew, gross. Let me move it right over top. Jeez. Okay, look where that hip is. You know what? I don't hate it. I'm gonna turn off the lights for a second and see. It's a little off there. See what it looks like. See how close I got. Because that did nothing. With this big light on. Oh, there's hair there. I didn't draw the hair. You know what? I thought I was way off. My foot is way over. My foot is 1 foot over. Maybe if I twist. And not quite as long. So if I just go like this and turn out this light. Let's see if we got a little light table action. So if you own, look, I don't even own this TV, but it has been very useful for these streams. Okay. I can't see where the light is. I stared into the light and now I can't see how to turn it off. There it is. Yeah! That's not quite bright enough, is it? Oh, funny. Okay, I'll get that back in there. I'll get it back in, guys. What did I do? What did you do, Bunny? I just kicked off the, wait, are we still here? Let me just reset this camera. That's so bad of me. I know. Force quit. Force quit. I kicked the cable out. It's a tight space. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Okay. Is OBS still going? Are we back? Are we back? I think so. Okay. Hopefully you guys see that. So, my attempt was in vain. It's not dark enough in here to see through. The TV's not bright enough. Oh, and I'm covering it. I'll just move your YouTube. Okay. Ah, that's better. Okay. So, I can see, okay, I can see her if I just slide her over like this. And, wow. You know what? My arm is a little low, and my head's a little small, and my feet weren't quite long enough, but everything else, like the horizontal widths are pretty good. This one's a little bit wide. I did make that bigger after, and my original line was fine. But yes, my legs needed to be this much lower. But that, you know, maybe if I shrink the picture a little bit. I mean, I'm not going up here measuring this thing, right? But it's a lot closer than I thought. Better than the first two. So number 3 down, 812. All right, turn the lights back on. I don't even want to draw anymore. I've had so much fun. But there's one more picture left. And it'll just be no holds barred. That's pretty good to do 4 in one night, right? So this is not the original artist. Alvgren. I've looked up his, for a book. He does really cutesy, I think they're like 1950s pinup girls. And I just kind of want to draw one. They look soft and pretty. Okay, so we'll do one with the last little bit of time here. I need the light back on. The light here is really high tech. I take a stick and I slap it. Keith bought me this fixture. And it's so, yeah, nice. It's so nice and bright. These are daylight balanced LED lights. They'll probably never ever run out. And then I found the window shade. It was from IKEA, but it was free. It was in the garbage. And so that when I hang it over the model, they aren't blinded. All right, so a fun little gal here. I mean, I don't even think I need to draw many forms on this. Let's just do a T-sip and then just go for it. Okay. Oh, for the head. There's her arm. There's her chest area. I'm drawing her smaller than I see her too. There's her ribs. She's got a big old cowboy hat. Arm. Navel. Little butt. Little leg. Let's hope this works. Sometimes it's fun. This is how I would draw more in my sketchbook. Okay, so I got a plan. Awesome. Now we go. Let's spend a little time on this little gal's face. So, not much of a plan. And just hope that it turns out, because I'm just going for it. I'm not gonna build any more shape. Just draw. Oh geez, what a cool way to draw eyes. I guess this is probably 1960s, guessing by this makeup. Draw those like Zsa Zsa Gabor. They're like cat eyes. I have a major addiction to books. You know what? Supposedly Virgos, which is my astrological sign, worry a lot. And I used to, for sure. I used to worry a lot more. But one thing that I've never worried about is the amount of money I spend on books. I don't even worry where I'm going to put them. I'll put my bed on them if I have to. Which I find really funny. That, like, even last night, I was having a bad night. And I went on to Amazon. I'm like, you know what I need? I need books on Japanese gardens, because just looking at things, like I'm a visual artist, but I'm doing these meditations right now, and it's all about visualizing this golden light, and I cannot do it. I don't visualize things visually. I'm a visual artist, and I like to fill my well looking at things visually. But like if I close my eyes and try to imagine something, I think I imagine things more in words. To be honest, I don't think I can imagine, like my dreams are pictures, but it's weird. I don't know. It's not so easy for me to do those visualizations in a meditation for some reason. Maybe that's helped me be a better drawer, I don't know. Whew, this nose is gonna have to get big to fit that space. I put her eyes too high up. Oh, that's gonna put her hairline up here. Gotta give her like a childlike forehead. Now, this guy spent a lot more time on the hair, right? But we're just gonna block it in. Give her some cheek shadow. Oh man, Bunny, you're overdoing it. Which gives us that nose shape. I might just bring up the chin. It almost looks like it's graphite, but it almost looks like watercolor. The softness. Right? Not planning it out, just drawing it. Just draw it. It can only look grotesque, right? That's fine. For straight ahead. There's animation called straight ahead that's like that too. It's like you draw it straight and you don't like plan it, and it's always pretty goofy and everything changes shape and size, but it's a thing. Give her some eyelashes out the side here. Nice eyebrow. I don't even think that's high enough. The shadow. The forehead. Comes down the zygomatic arch. It's fun to say these things too. Down her cheekbones. Let's give her some full cheeks, because she's smiling. She's having a good day on the beach. The shadow underneath the nose. That's kind of what makes her look cat-like, I think. The way he drew this nose. Well, this isn't actually his drawing. This is a study somebody did. Aha. So, there's a problem. Don't make the mouth too wide. Top lip. We have a student here from New York, Sal Amadola. And he learned from these guys. He was a student at the New York Academy. And actually, I got to sign some paperwork to help him to become a Canadian citizen. Hopefully, the news is he'll be back, because he's such a wonderful man and such great stories. He actually learned from Fred Fixler, who is on this here. And I guess these guys back in like the 1950s in these art schools, they were just tyrants. You know, just like rip you a new hole. And that was the name of the game. If you weren't tough enough, you weren't going to make it. So Sal did like 1970s. He worked for Marvel, some other comic books. He's a little treasure. And he lives just down the street from C-Space. He takes care of like his 98-year-old mom. And hopefully he gets to stay with us. And if you do take a class, you get to meet him. I think he's a vegan. He's so interesting. He's doesn't eat meat or anything. So he would always come to these after lunch classes, and so I would try not to microwave meat that day or have any smells, so as to not offend his sensibilities. It's the least you can do, you know? Anyways, there's a nice looking face, right? Let's put some hair on. That's the thing I'll spend the most time on, right? The rest, who cares? Oh, and we got an ear coming out here. Gotta put the ear in. Let's put it right. It's not the same, but it's close enough. I wonder if this like good enough, close enough attitude is actually good for me. It takes kind of, maybe that's why I don't feel worried anymore. I'm like, you know, with commercial work, you got a timeline and you just got to have it done. And I've been learning to not be a perfectionist about things. And it's like, nope, that's all the money they have for this. So it's about it being done. And when I was out at Elk Island, I got to see the work I made in its setting. And I was kind of like, you know what? That was enough, you know? And for the general population, the people who are going to see the work, like, they're not like me at a museum, you know? Like picking it apart. Maybe just art students are like that. I don't know. Okay. She's got nice little curls here, soft. I guess I'll have to find the original of this, see how far off I am. And I'm not putting this thing up. Deltoid. Bicep. This looks more like a graphite. It's a lot lighter touch. Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna get this bikini in. Jeez. Maybe erase it out. Maybe that's what we'll do. Erase it out. Okay, so the neck pit, the clavicle. There's a shadow under her jaw. So hard edged, the tip of the pencil, and then it softens up. Actually travels a little more of an angle down. Okay, sternocleidomastoid. These guys knew what they were doing. And I'm not sure, but I think they worked from photo. I think they drew from pinup photo, and then they would like change a blonde to a brunette. So it was really popular. These are like the Betty Page sort of days, the Marilyn Monroe time. I worked in a lot of car shops. My first jobs were on 17th Ave here. Like from the age of 12, my uncle was a race car driver. And so what started me in painting was actually painting the numbers on the cars. Believe it or not. That's kind of, you know, I did kid art too. But they said, yep, you know, you're the painter. And I would get jobs at the shop. So I was also not bothering my aunt during the day. She's very crafty. So there was always little projects to do. And there'd be pinup girls in the bathrooms and boobies from the Calgary Sun, Sunshine Girl. Huh. Right? These mechanic shops back in the day were, I mean, you probably wouldn't even be allowed to get away with that today. I think even the Sunshine Girl has like bikinis on, and it's like, I go to law school. Like, it's different than it used to be. But it's still that idea of these pinup girls, these poses. I mean, now it's like this, it almost seems like a cute nostalgia, although it'll probably be hated on. I read this article the other day about these feminists going to the Picasso Museum in Spain with these anti-Picasso slogans, and you know, I obviously have opinions about that. They're not going to lessen the value, I think, of a Picasso. It was 100 years ago, different time, and whether or not the things they say he did, we don't know either. So I wouldn't put it past him. He's a Spanish man. Machismo. but I think it's kind of silly to judge the past by the standards we have today, or even to judge other countries. Like, catch up, you know? You're second world, but you have to all drive Teslas, you know? It's just not realistic to judge, to try to have everyone to the same standard that we are now, because we've had hundreds of years of wealth and success to allow us to be able to be progressive. You know what? I don't think her arm is long enough. It should match up. I'm committed too early. Should match up to down there. So we'll move down. Anyways, I'm trying not to rant because people are so sensitive these days. That's why I'm off the social media. We all have opinions, but I'm not allowed to have mine, it seems, so I'm going to keep it to myself. And just keep reading more books. I'm really into the Stoic philosophers right now. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, what is it, Epictetus? He's my favorite. I think I hate to say his name. Really great stuff. I have self-care days where I read in the bathtub. It's the only, I hate baths. It's the only way that I can stay in there. It's too hot. So if I say, I have to finish this chapter and then I'm allowed to get out. It's been working for me. It's been working. So I'm reading Stoic philosophy. It sounds bohemian. I read Stoic philosophy in the bathtub. And I just leave it beside my bed. I got rid of the Netflix when the beer bug came into being. And I really haven't watched much. I really enjoyed watching some Third Rock while at the lake. Because it's like you don't even have to use your brain. But I haven't really had time for that stuff. I'd rather do this. Although I was ready to throw it in already. So now I'm glad. Once again, it's like this time I got my second wind. Before this drawing, I was like, you know what? We've done enough. But I'm glad that I kept going. This isn't going to be as pretty. But this isn't smooth newsprint either. I should point out that I have to get through this pile. I think Keith gave me like 500 sheets of this stuff. So that is my plan, is to get through this pile. Of course, I could use this in kids' classes and stuff too. It's just like, I feel guilty if I don't. And if I get through it, then I can buy some more. Unless Keith shows up again with another pile of paper he doesn't want. But newsprint's great. It's so cheap. It's such a great way to learn. It's not precious. Let's erase that out a little bit. All right. Got to keep moving here. I'm slowing down. So that's the back of the shoulder, the trap, and then it just goes straight down. I think maybe I made her body too long. And there's our ribs. Delicious Kansas style ribs. And we will put, we don't draw a lot of clothes in here either. We'll put the bikini on her. Little spots. I really liked learning Sabine's style. It is reminiscent of Michelangelo, I think. Him being a sculptor too, I'm not surprised. Neck pit. Cleaves. I'm going to just start making up things. See who's actually out there listening. Is it too silly? my friend Paula is coming to town. You're out there, I see, and maybe you and I can have a conversation while I'm doing my drawing if you're here on a Wednesday night. It helps to have something to bounce off of. Although I've gotten good at talking to myself through this experience. And the day that Keith came in, and I sat way, way back there, his voice was very relaxing while drawing. Maybe that's what mine is like to you. That's kind of cool. Little Bob Ross sayings here and there. Good old Bob. Some more cleave. Technical term. The cast shadow. A little bit darker in there too. Oh, they're little hearts. Adorable. This is so cute. She's ready to go stampede. Little small one up there. Anyways, I didn't quite get them all in. Shadow from the strap. And up by the neck. Otherwise it's quite light. Oh geez, I gotta move a little quicker, guys. Didn't realize. I gotta be somewhere early in the morning tomorrow, so I'm not gonna stay up late. Ray, if you're out there, you hear me. Better not be having a party at the house when I get home. Unless there's gin, I am not drinking a thing. When I was young, like 16, had this experience. Everyone's got their bad drinking experiences. We bought that Gibson Lemon. You know, it's like, tastes like Sunlight dish soap. And I drank the whole bottle. I was 16. I had already left home and I was a bad kid. And I don't even know how we got that stuff. It was in BC, so you have the Alberta, or the, sorry, BC Liquor Board or whatever. However it works out there. Anyways, somehow, my best friend Tim and I, we got ourselves some of that nasty stuff. And I drank the whole bottle. And I remember the vomit, the puking was lemon flavored gin. Gin. It had that gin flavor. And until I would say maybe 2-3 years ago, I couldn't even drink gin. But I had this local one called Confluence, and it was quite delicious and made me like the juniper florals. Actually, you know what it was? I went to Holland. That's what got me back onto gin. And I got to go to Bowls, and I got to have the original Genever, which is the original gin. And then I brought some back. The 1800s, yes. You see, traveling is not always good because it cultures me. Cultured now to drink gin. My best friend, he always, when we went to the bars, it was always gin and tonic. Smart guy. Or at the casino. Gin and tonic. Didn't give you bad breath. Didn't stain your teeth. But he's gotta move quicker now. I like it though. It's coming along. You know, I haven't actually done this type of rendering really before. So that's kind of nice too. Get a different style. I'm just going to leave the belly button exactly where I put it. Sometimes, you know, you just go with what it is, and if you've trained, you get pretty close. I suppose that's what the point of all of this is. Looks like her leg moved up, and I might have gave her a Kardashian booty. There we go. And I hope I can get this done in time for you. I hope it's good enough for you too. Hey, yay. Kelsey's still out there. I hope you're painting. Okay. This, to me, I'm not like a fashion guy, but I think that this bikini would be perfectly good today. I mean, I would like it on me or on someone else. I like these little rings. I feel like that's a timeless thing, these connecting rings. Whoopsies. Not a lot of fabric on these either. Little gray hearts. They're smart. I definitely have made this leg too wide. It starts at the side of her mouth. No, it starts at her cheek. Jeez Louise. Way over here. Bunny. Sometimes you can't fix these things, you know? Give it a little knee. Let's go with this. It's not going for accuracy, right? In fact, I might even just leave the feet a shape. Anyhow. Let's try that. Scoop it in. Sure. Good enough. She's tan. Wait, I should check. Am I still even on the screen? Oh yeah, I'm just low. Sorry guys. My back is starting to hunch. That means I'm getting to the end of my ability to draw on the donkey. I'm sweating too. I wonder if what's up with the heat in here today. Like when it's wet like this, we always have these beautiful thunder and lightning storms in Alberta. One of my favorite things growing up as a kid. We lived up on this hill. Well, my aunt and uncle did in Forest Lawn. So my mom put herself through college, and so she would take summer courses, and I would come out to Calgary and stay with my aunt and uncle, my uncle Paul, the race car driver, and see those weather changes. And when we would go back for school, I would work my little 12-year-old summer jobs with my uncle. I worked in a lot of shops, Speedy, Brake, Muffler Man. They're all on International Ave. They're still there. My first job places are still in existence today. Midas. And all these companies, because my uncle was always the manager, of course, so he could give me a job. All these companies were always the sponsor of his race cars. And then on the weekends, we would go out to Race City Speedway, and I would get sunburned watching circle track and chicanes. I think the first car I drove was a race car. And also, I learned to drive here. I actually took driving school. It's funny because I lived in BC after all that. Went to Ladysmith Secondary School, Wellington High in Nanaimo. But yeah, summers were always in Calgary, which is probably why I'm here now. I actually didn't want to go to Emily Carr, was one of the main reasons I moved to Alberta. By the time I was 17, like I was a street kid for a while, and then this family, the Norrises, took me in. And I lived on this wonderful homestead acreage. It was an orchard. And they were a really great family. And they invited me in. I mean, I lived in the basement. I lived as a separate entity, really. But they taught me a lot about life and love. And like how to kill a chicken. You know, those kinds of life lessons. So it really turned around from being a total juvenile delinquent, getting in trouble with the police. And then this family took me in, and I mean, I don't know that they tamed me. But after graduating high school, because I wanted to finish high school in the same place, I had this really great art teacher, Mrs. Kent, Linda. And, you know, she believed in me. She knew I was troubled or whatever, but I was like the best drawer. And the arts weren't supported. My school was a rugby school. I was also on the rugby team. But it was a really sporty school. We won provincials and whatnot. And, you know, I was forced, being the freak with the pink mohawk, but we were so small, I was still forced to do jock things. I hated it, but, you know, had to do track and field because the school had to be represented. So I did all the track, high jump, shot put, like, had to do all that stuff. I got 8th in track, which is the lowest. Basically, they fit 8 people on that. But she was really supportive of my art. That was the only thing I cared about. And I loved Salvador Dali. And when I was 16, Glenn, I call him my stepdad, he was inventing hog fuel recovery, and he had to go to Europe. So at 16, I got to go to Paris with him, and Amsterdam, smoked way too much weed. It's funny because they didn't even like ask our age or anything, but we were drinking, smoking. You could buy cigarettes out of these machines on the streets. It was a good time. Good time. And it was amazing because what I really wanted to see was the Salvador Dali Museum. And I got to go. I would like to go again now, because just like when I went back to Paris, it's funny because I still knew my way around. I mean, when you're young, and Holland I forgot. I just wanted mannequin piss. But I like to stay in a place for a month and a half and really get to just walk every street. You know, like I know Paris. I can navigate and walk around and probably give a tour because I spent so much time there. You know, like a month and a half is a long time if you're not living somewhere, but just enough time. I wouldn't want to live there. Out of any, like I would love to live in Japan, but I don't, it would take a long time to integrate, I think, to know what you're doing and stuff. I went with Bill Mortensen, and he speaks Japanese fluently, the old style of Japanese. So that really helped, but I love there. Anyways, growing up, I got to go see Salvador Dali Museum, which was a childhood dream. I was like really into surrealism when I was like a punk kid and loved his craziness. And that's in part what made me want to be an artist, was Dali. Like I could do anything, you know? And I did lots of surrealist stuff. In fact, I brought the portrait that I drew in '96 when I was like 16 to the frame shop today. Maybe that's why this is coming up. It was pretty funny. Doug Swinton and I went up to our framing guy, and who's great. Yeah, brought that up because I thought it might be nice to display my first, and I got all these other portraits and it's quite terrible. So it's nice to remind oneself that you do get better with the work. 4 years ago, I couldn't have drawn this. Not like this. This Atelier has helped me immeasurably and given me wonderful friends. You guys are out there right now. And, wait, gotta move up, I guess. We're still going here. So I feel very happy about, you know, waking up and being able to come here and draw like this. I don't think I thought I was calling myself an artist, and I had that imposter syndrome before. I taught at an art school, always chasing making the living. And the rent here is not cheap. That's why I'm doing this commercial work right now, but I feel like, you know, I have to pay the rent here, so I'm forced to do the work, but I get to come in every day and be an artist as well if I pay the rent. So doing these practices has been a game changer. I don't think just going to art school and getting the title is enough. And for years after art school, I wouldn't call myself an artist. It was offensive to me because of what these contemporary artists have done to the name. Like, just make us look like a bunch of posh jackasses. Oh my God. I gotta watch the language on the YouTube, right? Jackass Storch. PewDiePie's got it figured out. You say pee-pee instead of the actual term. I'm still learning. Always learning too. I guess that's why I like those Stoic philosophers. Because they're like, if you're not learning or suffering, you're not alive. You know? Get a little bit of pattern on this. We're getting close. I mean, I got 9 minutes, but I'm going to go over just to finish the arm and stuff. And then maybe I'll put up what we created today. It's quite a bit. I mean, I could post everything in one go and just be like, look who's doing SHIT. I want to rhyme there. Let's put this dark background in. Anyways, I like sometimes that the little stories about me come out, and maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not. But I'm like reflecting to myself as it's coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, are you really saying this? Like I'm learning and realizing things about myself. Like sometimes I forget where I came from. I'm actually hadn't talked to my aunt and uncle in about a decade, and I'm renewing the relationship, making many efforts, sending them pictures of what I'm doing. You know, things happen with family where things fall away, and it's sad, but I'm doing my best to recapture, and a lot of memories are coming up about those days, which is interesting, kind of reliving, and you know, it's even coming up in this. So I think it's important to remember your history. Wow, okay, I just looked at the difference between where the hand goes and where the knee goes, and I was gonna put it way up here. Woo! Wow, I was way off. Way off. So let's hope that this is good enough. It might look really bad when I post it up, but are we learning as we draw, or is this just meditation now? I feel like this one is meditation. I'm not, like the other one I was trying to analyze what I was learning, and I learned that I need to do some more learning. But here I'm just following the lines and coloring, really. Oh, which reminds me, I gotta send my list of Copic marker colors to Swinton's. I'm using Copic on the petite masterpieces, and I've had Copics for years, because I used to actually draw real things and comic books and do storyboarding with them when I did a lot more animation. And, you know, they're guaranteed for 3 years, I guess, out of the case, but many of them now need the refills. I got certified by Copic. I went and took their training, but everyone kind of draws on tablets now, you know? So, I don't know if it's, I mean, they're refillable and they're from Japan. It's not exactly what I'm doing these days. I could have drew this in Copic, actually, using the grayscales. I love those grayscales. But, so they're different. They're ink. They are not pigment. So they mix like ink. The color theory is more like light than like pigment. CMYK. It's pretty cool. I figure you gotta know all the ways. And I would say that I am very good at color. I'm not tooting my own horn. I've worked hard at it, and I teach a nice color theory class here. But it happens to be one of the skills that I'm like pretty certain about. Like if I need to mix a color, I can do it exactly, and I can do it with almost anything that you have. So, and that helps when you're a painter, for sure. It's not intuitive, which I think is neat, because it means that you can learn it. Once you learn it, then it gets intuitive, like what should I add to that? But I've even come up with questions to ask yourself to solve those problems if you don't know, which I teach in my painting classes. But I think that there's definitely a pattern. Okay, wow. I'm giving her Popeye forearm here. Boy, oh boy. That's okay. No one will notice. I know, I can just hide it in the shadow. There we go. There's quite a lot of shadow, so. Dun, dun, dun. Hat. Okay. Getting close. I'm gonna go over 3 minutes. You guys don't care, do you? So buy the book. Move that brush shadow down. Oh. I should probably just go online and find out if there's a list of like things you can and cannot say on the OobTube, and then just figure out funny words to say instead. Like I could call something it's eggplant. I don't have to. Euphemisms are fun. It's like poetry, right? Her ping ping, the yoni. It's also so childish, but that's what it takes. Man, he draws his fingers so beautifully. Just these sharp little points. You know, art is magic. There was nothing here a second ago, you know? And the bards used to be feared because they could make up a song about a king that would last longer than his life. So drawing is manifestation, something from nothing. And when I had gotten out of art school, I didn't know I was going to work in video and all that. And there's this cool camera. Sorry, that's just how I talk. There's this cool camera called the Canon XL1. And so I drew it in my sketchbook. And that year, everything I drew in my sketchbook somehow came into my life as true. I ended up getting this job at EM Media in video production. And they were the only place in town with that camera. And I got to use it whenever I wanted. I actually taught classes with it. So then I drew like a mountain bike, and lo and behold, although that bike did get stolen, it was crushing my heart. It came into my life. And so it's not something I do today, but there's magic to it, you know? Like you put your time and energy into thoughts. Back to this secret conversation I had today, right? This whole willpower thing. But at the same time, like, if you're thinking about making more money all the time and you're focused on it, like that's what's gonna happen. There's a saying, what you focus on is, I don't know, it'll come up. My brain is a strange and wonderful thing when it's working at high capacity. But, you know, you gotta just put the work in too. Like, there was a get-rich-quick scheme, and I fell for it, and that was the lottery, and nobody won it. Just total BS. Nobody won it? Draw another number. Someone should have to win it. And then it goes up, and then they're like, haha. But the odds were so good that no one won it. I wonder if they would sell more tickets if they guaranteed someone would win it. Then we'll draw another one. And how come it's always Ontario? You know? Let's have an Albertan win that bad boy. So I'm almost there for as far as this thing's gonna go. This looks like a wolf. Better take that down a notch. Let's go for the leg. Oh, I forgot to turn the focus off on the program. Hilarious. Sorry. I don't watch the screen. And it looks pink. That is not... This is white. Why does this look so pink? Automatic white balance? Okay. So, I like that. I like this lost edge. I would do more studies of this guy's work for sure. They're cute. It's cute. I collected cards back in the 90s of the pinup arts. It was the closest thing to Orno pay I could get. But then you could go to that store, San Francisco, and go into the back. And then they ended up just being lame, and they sold knives to teenagers. And they went out of business. But they also had all the whoopee cushions and fart jokes and stuff, and you could get cool Halloween costumes. I missed that store. That was the only reason I ever went to the mall. The San Francisco store. Itching powder. Those little pieces of rubber you'd stick in people's cigarettes, and then their cigarettes would smell. It's rubber. It was putting rubber into people's cigarettes. Itching powder was fiberglass shards. That's not nice. Those jokes were... Any joke really like that. Like, I don't like April Fools anymore. It used to be my favorite, but it's just mean. Pranks, how they get so popular on YouTube. But I'm like, these are stupid. Except the shampoo one. The guy who like keeps squeezing the shampoo and people keep washing their hair in those outdoor Venice Beach showers. That is pretty funny. It's not like, that's not like a mean prank, but there was all those pranks like, oh, my girlfriend that I'm cheating on her or whatever. And I'm pretty sure they were in on it and it was overreactions for views, but it's not, you don't want to live with someone who you're always like, what's going to happen next? You know? It's not a good situation when people are playing tricks on each other. Like, trust bond is important. Okay. Let's learn about the feet off this guy. Okay, this is going down, the heel's coming up. I'm looking at the negative shape. Squares off. It's probably a little bit bigger actually. Squares off. Got the nice curl. Angle. Yeah, the toe. This is good. Mine is too angular for sure. I'll put it in. Put some tone on it. Just put some tone on it. And a shadow underneath it. Okay. All right. Heel. Pinky toe. Oh, it's not far enough forward. Pinky toe. Yeah, that's better. He also has his highlights, which I haven't put on. I guess I could with white. Maybe like if I say something that's like an Easter egg, and then eventually if we have to run like secret sessions, I'll be like, in Livestream episode blah, I said something and that's the password to get in. Alright, we'll just add that little highlight. I got the white chalk out here. The back foot is too small. Should be out further. But we'll leave it, whatever. I think this is good. I'm happy. We made many things together today. Let's go. 4 drawings, 3 hours. Let's do a little show. Let's do a little show. All right, give me 1 second. I could put more white on that actually. I could put more white. All right. Maybe I'll do it standing up so you can see my fuzzy hair. Putting a hat on. Guys and girls. Theys and its, Zinzam, and all the other ones. Here we go. Let's pan up and see Bunny. I have a nice neutral earth tone outfit on today. Don't trip over the cable, bunny. All right. So, hey, hi. Hey, here's what we got today. Mostly me. I should probably turn the mic too. Tilt it down. So interactive. Studying the Reilly method, this picture of this lovely back. It's too wide for its height, something we got to work on, but use the Reilly method in a way that I never learned. I never learned it, but I had this little chart that you can get on fredfixler.com. I have copies here too if you need, if you're interested in learning more. So that was good. Happy. Then we drew this lovely lady's back. A lot more turning and going away. And then, you know, we had some little legs, so a little bit more involved, and shaded this one. The other one, not really. One more back, a little bit more intense. So spent that whole hour, 45 minutes to an hour on this one. I don't know if that's meaning right, but you know, a little bit more rendering. So what you would do in a little bit longer pose, I actually signed this one, so that must mean it's done. And then finally did the study at the end. So 4 drawings, 3 hours. I'm pretty stoked, I feel all right. I will put some more highlights on that one and maybe put it on Instagram, because I have not been showing my face on social media. People might think I'm not doing my homework, and I hope you're doing your homework. And I want to thank you for joining me, as many of you always do every week at the live stream, 6 till 9. I don't know what I'll do next week, but you can send me a message or something. We could do some more pinups. I don't know. I just kind of do what I want on these Wednesday nights. Like, subscribe, comment, share, cut and paste it, tell other people to watch it. Do something, because you don't want me to lose faith and just cancel the live stream altogether. When we can, you can come here and join me, and so I'll be looking forward to that. You know, it might be interesting to keep the live stream going, but just turn off the sound if we have a live model so people could watch who can't come, because I know we got a lot of people who are going to enjoy their summers outdoors, but I got great air conditioning in here. So if you need a cool off night, we'll see you in July. That's it for now. Thanks again. Ciao. So the sound keeps going while the black is. This is funny. Now I hit end stream. Bye guys. Thank you. Officially.